Good morning to you and Happy New Year. Well, good morning here on the West Coast. This is Tamika Chambers with Fulfill Your Divine Purpose. And I was reading something up. I was thinking of how to start today. Heart to Heart Mondays. I'd like to continue that because I believe, as the Bible verse says, out of the heart flows the issues of life. It shows us, how you talk to someone, how you treat someone, the actions that you do, whether it is low self-esteem, whether it is resentment, bitterness, anger, rage. None of that stuff stays within, although it works within and it can damage the body, but it also comes out in so many different forms because pain seeks to release itself. And if you're not doing it the healthy way, you will do it another way. And unfortunately, that leads to the cycle of pain. So when we talk about the heart is not only the center of joy, it is the fertile ground of our emotions and our feelings. It is where our seeds are planted, whether you consciously plant them through affirmations, positive affirmations, negative words, or whether you allow others to plant them and you accept them instead of rejecting someone's opinion, their stereotype of you, their own beliefs, their fears, their anxieties, their anger, etc. Those seeds actually grow within the heart and through the nervous system. Those seeds affect every organ in your body. And it actually goes to your brain and it changes your whole chemistry of your brain. We think about depression, we think about anxiety, we think about post-traumatic, disorder. When we think about those things, they have a root in our hearts. Our hearts, those accepted thoughts that we have. Everybody has faith. Everybody has something they believe in. And whatever you believe in, you tend to express. And so it is it's not weird or unknown that we still have a high history of heart attacks, that, high blood pressure and other, things that are happening inside of our bodies first. And then we physically feel that, we physically express it. And so my thing is that we don't have to become a statistic. Just because Aunt Susie, or in no reference to anyone, aunt, whoever, uncle, grandmother had something, doesn't mean that we have to have it ourselves. So I am here as on Mondays because this is the day that they say that many people have events, right after the weekend when we're supposed to be, rested and happy and ready to go about our day. But if we are still holding on resentment, anger towards a person, thing, job, that still is working within us. It's still affecting our organs, our heart, and the blood supply, and all this life is supposed to be flowing throughout our bodies, that we're not having that because we have emotional and mental blockages that are preventing us from living our abundant life that we have been, our abundant lives that we have been promised. I believe that we're here to do that in all areas, in our mind, that we are the masters of our minds, our emotions, our thoughts, and our feelings. When we control our minds, we control our actions. The things that we do, the things that we participate in, the friends, associates that we have, the jobs that we apply for and that we continue to go to, the work, the life work that we're here to do, the meaning of our life and purpose, that we don't want to destroy our lives. Neither do we want to destroy others, but we want to help edify and build others up. And that has to come from the heart in order to do that. And so I don't know if you knew, but in talking about this year and going forward, January, that many people actually quit their New Year's goals. We set goals for ourselves, right? We things that we want to do, we envision it, we imagine it, we hope for it, we pray for it, we write them down, we stick Post-its on our walls, refrigerator, wherever it may be. But we have New Year goals. We have goals that this year is going to be different. This year is going to be different. I'm going to get my business together. I'm going to get my projects together. I'm going to make this amount of money. I'm going to have these friends. I'm going to travel here and there. You know, we can mentally do that because of the mind that we have. But in order to keep the motivation, because that's what we're talking about, in order to keep the motivation, our heart has to be in it. And remember, that is the seat of our emotions and our feelings. And so if we don't believe that we can do it, if we're holding ill will towards someone, resentment, shame, if we're holding fears about we won't make it, and we're, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of what people are saying, self-criticism, if we're holding anger, resentment, we haven't forgiven others in our lives. Many people have talked about this, and having a breakthrough after it because they forgave. We will not achieve our goals in the way that they should be achieved. We will not successfully express ourselves in life. And so it is so important. I'm getting all these these things that are coming up. But it is so important that we look at, who we are. When we're talking about goals, we look at where our hearts are. Who do I need to forgive? We're so sometimes busy on, we need to make this money and all those other things I said that we need to achieve, but we're not looking at our hearts, and we're not looking at and see, okay, what am I holding inside of me? Because it's always about, for me, that I realized at a young age, you always look at yourself first. You look at yourself first, and you say that, okay, what's going on with me first? What do I need to do? What do I need to work on? And it's not that we have to stay stagnant, but it's a consistent daily looking at, why do I want to achieve these goals? Do I want to look good in front of others? Or do I really have a service heart? Do I really want to do something for the world that I'm here to do, that I'm here to share my gifts and talents and abilities? They say that by the second week of Friday, that many people, research says by the second week of Friday, that many people, 89% or so, they quit. Their motivation, their desire to achieve their New Year's goals go down. And it's not funny in a sense, but it's like, oh my gosh, a large percentage, we go into the year, we're going to do this. And then when the day hits, we're just like, I don't feel like doing it. And that's where we have to take the pause and say, okay, what is going on inside of me? What are my true intentions of the goals that I set forth? And what's inside of me that I need to release? What barriers are inside of me? That many people by February, they have altogether quit their New Year's goals. And that leads to frustration, right? Bitterness, anger, more resentment, what was actually in the heart in the first place. And we tend to, in a way, sabotage ourselves. The way that we sabotage ourselves is that we have all of this anger, frustration, and bitterness that's already in us, and that we go and do something, or we make unrealistic goals, or we give up, and it's all about, we end up feeding those negative emotions, right? We end up feeding them even more instead of starving them, instead of putting one foot forward, instead of setting realistic goals, instead of mapping things out, instead of getting our minds together, that spending time to get our minds together in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and really, visualizing what it is that we want to achieve, and visualizing in such a way that it edifies others, that it helps to build other people up. Not of, we want to do things for ourselves, but we also want to have that authenticity, that we're doing it not just out of what we're gonna get, but out of true expression of who we are, of taking care of our bodies because they are the vehicle for our message, of taking care of our minds because we are the master of our minds. We don't have the power of fear. We don't have fear. We're not timid. We have the power of self-control. We have love. We don't allow situations to turn us around. We have the conviction that this is who I am. So guess what? It is natural for me to go work out. It is natural for me to be careful about the foods that I eat. It is natural for me to find a way to properly express my gifts, my talents, my abilities. It is natural for me to practice writing, singing, dancing. It is natural for me to see myself successful. It is natural for me to be wealthy. It is natural for me to be prosperous. It is natural for me to be strong. It is natural for me to love others, to see the God within them, to see their innocence, their beauty. It is natural for me to want to help people to become all that they were created to be. So when we step in the naturalness of who we are, then what we set forth will be a goal, not just a goal, but it'll be a declaration of who we are and what we stand for and what we're here to do. And so, I like declarations. Declare something. When you declare it, you are truly feeling it in your heart. There is a spiritual conviction. There is nothing is going to stop me. I am unshakable. I am untouchable. I am unmoved by what's going on in the world, because I am not of the world. I am greater than that. That though I am clothed in this human form does not limit me in what I can bring forth, right? And many have done that in their lives. When we think about, I can't think of her name, but Helen, the one that was born blind. When we think about all the people that have had poor beginnings, if you will, quote unquote, poor beginnings according to the world, how they have prospered. We too, you too, can be everything that you were created to be. We have to believe it, and we have to speak from the heart of truths, and we have to uproot any lies that we have within us, because they will continue to play within, and they will be those sabotagers, if you will, those things that hold us back, because we're believing more in the weeds and the negative thoughts than we are in our truths, right? There's some conviction, some conflict that's going on. So if you are struggling to keep that motivation, and I'm talking to you as I'm talking to myself, this is a mirror for me. If you are struggling to keep the motivation, let's tap within and see, what do I need to release? What lies am I holding inside of me that is preventing me from being all that I can be? And to sway away, to release resentment, shame, guilt, anger, bitterness, to release all of that, all these thoughts that we've picked up along the way, these worldly thoughts that keep us entrapped and imprisoned in living the way that the world lives, but to have a spiritual living, a spiritual perspective to life, that you cannot fail, that everything that you have come to do, you will do. We just need to be in the right frame of mind and in the right heart, that both need to be aligned, and they need to be working together and not in conflict. Because where there is inner conflict, there will be outer conflict. This is Tamika Chambers with Heart to Heart, talking about heart to heart. Not just, I started the title as why are people not achieving their New Year's goal? And it's like, well, how can you achieve the motivation to keep your goals alive, to keep what it is that you want to do? Are you setting too many? Are you not being realistic? Do you have things that are in your heart that you need to release and get rid of? Because when we speak from the heart, when we speak from conviction, we'll get it done. No matter what, we'll get it done. I'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourself, because you deserve it. And live your best life, because you have the power to do so even right now.